Chapter 66 Virtues of the Qur'an. Chapter 1 How the Divine Revelation used to be revealed, and what was the first thing revealed. Narrated Aisha and Ibn Abbas. The Prophet remained in Mecca for 10 years, during which the Qur'an used to be revealed to him, and he stayed in Medina for 10 years. Narrated Abu Uthman. I was informed that Gabriel came to the Prophet while Salama was with him. Gabriel started talking to the Prophet. Then the Prophet asked Salama, "Who is this?" She replied, "He is Dihya al-Kalbi." When Gabriel had left, Salama said, "By Allah, I did not take him for anybody other than him, Dihya, till I heard the sermon of the Prophet, wherein he informed about the news of Gabriel." The sub-narrator asked Abu Uthman, "From whom have you heard that?" Abu Uthman said, "From Usama bin Zayd." Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, "Every prophet was given miracles because of which people believed. But what I have been given is divine inspiration, which Allah has to reveal to me. So I hope that my followers will outnumber the followers of the other prophets on the day of resurrection." Narrated Anas bin Malik. Allah sent down his divine inspiration to his apostle continuously and abundantly during the period preceding his death, till he took him unto him. That was the period of the greatest part of revelation, and Allah's messenger died after that. Narrated Jundub. Once the Prophet fell ill and did not offer the night prayer, Tahajjud prayer, for a night or two. A woman, the wife of Abu Lahab, came to him and said, "O Muhammad, I do not see but that your Satan has left you." Then Allah revealed Surat ad-Duha by the forenoon, and by the night when it darkens or is still, your Lord has not forsaken you, nor hated you. 93. Chapter 2 The Quran was revealed in the language of Quraysh and the Arabs. Narrated Anas bin Malik. The Caliph Uthman ordered Zayd bin Thabit, Zayd bin al-As, Abdullah bin as-Zubair, and Abdur Rahman bin al-Harith bin Hisham to write the Quran in the form of a book, Mushafs, and said to them, "In case you disagree with Zayd bin Thabit al-Ansari regarding any dialectic Arabic utterance of the Quran, then write it in the dialect of Quraysh, for the Quran was revealed in this dialect." So they did it. Narrated Safwan bin Yala bin Umayyah. Yala used to say, "I wish I could see Allah's messenger at the time he is being inspired divinely." When the Prophet was at Al-Yarana and was shaded by a garment hanging over him, and some of his companions were with him, a man perfumed with a scent came and said, "O Allah's messenger, what is your opinion regarding a man who assumes ihram and puts on a cloak after performing his body with scent?" The Prophet waited for a while, and then the divine inspiration descended upon him. Umar pointed out to Yala, telling him to come. Yala came and pushed his head underneath the screen which was covering the Prophet. And behold, the Prophet's face was red, and he kept on breathing heavily for a while, and then he was relieved. Thereupon he said, "Where is the questioner who asked me about Umrah a while ago?" The man was sought, and then was brought before the prophet, who said to him, "As regards the scent which you perfumed your body with, you must wash it off thrice, and as for your cloak, you must take it off, and then perform in your Umrah all those things which you perform in Hajj." Chapter 3. The Collection of the Qur'an. Narrated Zayd bin Thabit. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq sent for me when the people of Yamama had been killed, yet a number of the Prophet's companions who fought against Musaylima. I went to him, and found Umar bin al-Khattab sitting with him. Abu Bakr then said to me, "Umar has come to me and said, casualties were heavy among the Qur'an of the Qur'an, yet those who knew the Qur'an by heart, on the day of the battle of Yamama, and I am afraid that more heavy casualties may take place among the Qur'an on other battlefields, whereby a large part of the Qur'an may be lost. Therefore I suggest you, Abu Bakr, order that the Qur'an be collected." I said to Umar, "How can you do something which Allah's apostle did not do?" Umar said, "By Allah, that is a good project." Umar kept on urging me to accept his proposal till Allah opened my chest for it, and I began to realize the good in the idea which Umar had realized. Then Abu Bakr said to me, "You are a wise young man, and we do not have any suspicion about you." And he used to write the divine inspiration for Allah's messenger. So you should search for the fragmentary scripts of the Quran and collect it in one book. By Allah, if they had ordered me to shift one of the mountains, it would not have been heavier for me than this ordering me to collect the Quran. Then I said to Abu Bakr, "How will you do something which Allah's messenger did not do?" Abu Bakr replied, "By Allah, it is a good project." Abu Bakr kept on urging me to accept his idea until Allah opened my chest, for what he had opened the chests of Abu Bakr and Umar. So I started looking for the Quran and collecting it from what was written on palm stalks, thin white stones, and also from the men who knew it by heart, till I found the last verse of Surat at-Tawbah, repentance, with Abi Qusayma al-Ansari, and I did not find it with anybody other than him. The verse is, "Verily there has come unto you an apostle, Muhammad, from amongst yourselves. It grieves him that you should receive any injury or difficulty," till the end of Surat Bara at Tawbah. 928-229. Then the complete manuscript's copy of the Quran remained with Abu Bakr till he died, then with Umar till the end of his life, and then with Hafsa, the daughter of Umar. Narrated Anas bin Malik. Hudayfa bin al-Yaman came to Uthman at the time when the people of Sham and the people of Iraq were waging war to conquer Armenia and Azerbaijan. Hudayfa was afraid of the people of Sham and Iraq differences in the recitation of the Quran. So he said to Uthman, "O chief of the believers, save this nation before they did differ about the book Quran, as Jews and the Christians did before." So Uthman sent a message to Hafsa, saying, "Send us the manuscripts of the Quran, so that we may compile the Quranic materials in perfect copies and return the manuscripts to you." Hafsa sent it to Uthman, Uthman then ordered Zayd bin Thabit, Abdullah bin As-Zubair, said bin Alas, and Abdurrahman bin Harith bin Hisham to rewrite the manuscripts in perfect copies. Uthman said to the 3 Qurayshi men, in case you disagree with Zayd bin Thabit on any point in the Quran, then write it in dialect of Quraysh. The Quran was revealed in their tongue. They did so, and when they had written many copies, Uthman returned the original manuscript to Hafsa. Uthman said to every Muslim province 1 copy of what they had copied, and ordered that all the other Quranic materials, whether written in fragmentary manuscripts or whole copies, be burnt. Zayd bin Thabit added, a verse from Surat Asab was missed by me when we copied the Quran, and I used to hear Allah's Messenger reciting it, so we searched for it and found it with Qusayma bin Thabit al-Ansari. That verse was, among the believers are men who have been true in their covenant with Allah. 33:23. Chapter 4. The Scribe of the Prophet Sas. Narrated Zayd bin Thabit. Abu Bakr sent for me and said, you used to write the divine revelations for Allah's Messenger, so you should search for the Quran and collect it. I started searching for the Quran till I found the last 2 verses of Surat at-Tawbah with Abi Qusayma al-Ansari, and I could not find these verses with anybody other than him. They were, verily, there has come unto you an apostle, Muhammad, from amongst yourselves. It grieves him that you should receive any injury or difficulty. 928-129. Narrated Al-Bara. There was revealed not equal are those believers who sit at home and those who strive and fight in the cause of Allah. 495. The Prophet said, call Zayd for me, and let him bring the board, the ink pot, and the scapula bone, or the scapula bone and the ink pot. Then he said, right not equal are those believers who sit, and at that time Amr bin Maktum, the blind man, was sitting behind the Prophet. He said, O Allah's Apostle, what is your order for me as regards the above verse? As I am a blind man. So instead of the above verse, the following verse was revealed. Not equal are those believers who sit at home, except those who are disabled by injury or are blind or lame, etc., and those who strive and fight in the cause of Allah. 495. Chapter 5. The Quran was revealed to be recited in 7 different ways. Narrated Abdullah bin Abbas. Allah's Messenger said, Gabriel recited the Quran to me in one way, then I requested him to read it in another way, and continued asking him to recite it in other ways, and he recited it in several ways, till he ultimately recited it in 7 different ways. Narrated Umar bin al-Khattab. I heard Hisham bin Hakim reciting Surat al-Furqan during the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, and I listened to his recitation and noticed that he recited in several different ways, which Allah's Messenger had not taught me. I was about to jump over him during his prayer, but I controlled my temper, and when he had completed his prayer, I put his upper garment around his neck and seized him by it and said, Who taught you this surah which I heard you reciting? He replied, Allah's Messenger taught it to me. I said, You have told a lie, for Allah's Messenger has taught it to me in a different way from yours. So I dragged him to Allah's Messenger and said to Allah's Messenger, I heard this person reciting Surat al-Furqan in a way which you haven't taught me. On that, Allah's apostle said, "Release him, O Umar, recite, O Hisham." Then he recited in the same way as I heard him reciting. Then Allah's messenger said, "It was revealed in this way," and added, "Recite, O Umar." I recited it as he had taught me. Allah's messenger then said, "It was revealed in this way. This Quran has been revealed to be recited in several different ways. So recite of it whichever way is easier for you, or read as much of it as may be easy for you." Chapter 6. Then compilation of the Quran. Narrated Yusuf bin Mak. While I was with Aisha, the mother of the believers, a person from Iraq came and asked, "What type of shroud is the best?" Aisha said, "May Allah be merciful to you. What does it matter?" He said, "O mother of the believers, show me the copy of your Quran." She said, "Why?" He said, "In order to compile and arrange the Quran according to it. For people recite it with its surahs not in proper order." Aisha said, "What does it matter which part of it you read first? Be informed that the first thing that was revealed thereof was a surah from Al-Mufassal, and in it was mentioned paradise and the fire. When the people embraced Islam, the verses regarding legal and illegal things were revealed. If the first thing to be revealed was, 'Do not drink alcoholic drinks,' people would have said, 'We will never leave alcoholic drinks,' and if there had been revealed, 'Do not commit illegal sexual intercourse,' they would have said, 'We will never give up illegal sexual intercourse.' While I was a young girl of playing age, the following verse was revealed in Mecca to Muhammad. Nay, but the hour is their appointed time for their full recompense, and the hour will be more grievous and more bitter." 54:46. Surah Al-Baqarah, the cow, and Surah Al-Nisa, the woman, were revealed while I was with them. Then Aisha took out the copy of the Quran for the man and dictated to him the verses of the surahs in their proper order. Narrated Abdullah bin Masud. Surat Bani Israel, Al-Kaf, the cave, Maryam, Taha, Al-Anbiya, the prophets, are amongst my first earnings and my old property, and in fact they are my old property. Narrated Al-Bara. I learned, "Glorify the name of your Lord, the Most High." Surat Al-Ala, number 87, before the Prophet came to Medina. Narrated Shakik. Abdullah said, "I learned An-Nasair, which the Prophet used to recite in pairs in each rak'ah." Then Abdullah got up, and Alqama accompanied him to his house. And when Alqama came out, we asked him about those surahs. He said, "They are 20 surahs that start from the beginning of Al-Mufassal according to the arrangement done by Ibn Masud, and end with the surahs starting with Ha-Mim, e.g. Ha-Mim, the smoke, and about what they question on one another." 78:1. Chapter 7. Jibril used to present the Quran to the Prophet Sos. Narrated Ibn Abbas. The Prophet was the most generous person, and he used to become more so generous, particularly in the month of Ramadan, because Gabriel used to meet him every night of the month of Ramadan till it elapsed. Allah's messenger used to recite the Quran for him. When Gabriel met him, he used to become more generous than the fast wind in doing good. Narrated Abu Huraira. Gabriel used to repeat the recitation of the Quran with the Prophet once a year, but he repeated it twice with him. In the year he died, the Prophet used to stay in I'tikaf for 10 days every year in the month of Ramadan, but in the year of his death he stayed in I'tikaf for 20 days. Chapter 8. The Qur'an from among the companions of the Prophet Sauce. Narrated Masrik. Abdullah bin Amr mentioned Abdullah bin Masud and said, I shall ever love that man, for I heard the Prophet saying, learn the Quran from 4, Abdullah bin Masud, Salim, Mu'ad, and Ubay bin Kab. Narrated Shaqiq bin Salama. Once Abdullah bin Masud delivered a sermon before us and said, By Allah, I learnt over 70 surahs direct from Allah's Messenger. By Allah, the companions of the Prophet came to know that I am one of those who know Allah's book best of all of them. Yet I am not the best of them. Shaqiq added, I sat in his religious gathering and I did not hear anybody opposing him in his speech. Narrated Al-Qama. While we were in the city of Hims in Syria, Ibn Masud recited Surat Yusuf. A man said to him, It was not revealed in this way. Then Ibn Masud said, I recited it in this way before Allah's Messenger, and he confirmed my recitation by saying, Well done. Ibn Masud detected the smell of wine from the man's mouth, so he said to him, Aren't you ashamed of telling a lie about Allah's book? And along with this, you drink alcoholic liquors too. Then he lashed him according to the law. Narrated Abdullah bin Masud. By Allah, other than whom none has the right to be worshipped, there is no surah revealed in Allah's book, but I know at what place it was revealed, and there is no verse revealed in Allah's book, but I know about whom it was revealed. And if I know that there is somebody who knows Allah's book better than I, and he is at a place that camels can reach, I will go to him. Narrated Qatada. I asked Anas bin Malik, who collected the Quran at the time of the Prophet? He replied, 4, all of whom were from the Ansar. Ubay bin Kab, Mu'ad bin Jabal, Zayd bin Thabit, and Abu Zayd. Narrated Anas bin Malik. When the Prophet died, none had collected the Quran but 4 persons. Abu ad-Darda, Mu'ad bin Jabal, Zayd bin Thabit, and Abu Zayd. We were the inheritors of Abu Zayd, as he had no offspring. Narrated Ibn Abbas. Umar said, Ubay was the best of us in the recitation of the Quran, yet we leave some of what he recites. Ubay says, I have taken it from the mouth of Allah's Messenger, and will not leave for anything whatever. But Allah said, None of our revelations do we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, but we substitute something better or similar. 206. Chapter 9. The superiority of Fatiha till Kitab. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Mu'alla. While I was praying, the Prophet called me, but I did not respond to his call. Later I said, O Allah's Apostle, I was praying. He said, Didn't Allah say, O you who believe, give your response to Allah by obeying Him, and to His Apostle when He calls you. 8:24. He then said, Shall I not teach you the most superior surah in the Quran? He said, It is. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Surat al-Fatiha, which consists of 7 repeatedly recited verses and the magnificent Quran, which was given to me. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. While we were on one of our journeys, we dismounted at a place where a slave girl came and said, "The chief of his tribe has been stung by a scorpion and our men are not present. Is there anybody amongst you who can treat him by reciting something?" Then one of our men went along with her, though we did not think that he knew any such treatment, but he treated the chief by reciting something. And the sick man recovered, whereupon he gave him 30 sheep and gave us milk to drink as our reward. When he returned, we asked our friend, "Did you know how to treat with the recitation of something?" He said, "No, but I treated him only with the recitation of the mother of the book, Al-Fatiha." We said, "Do not say anything about it till we reach or ask the Prophet." So when we reached Medina, we mentioned that to the Prophet in order to know whether the sheep which we had taken were lawful to take or not. The Prophet said, "How did he come to know that Al-Fatiha could be used for treatment? Distribute your reward and assign for me one share thereof as well." Chapter 10. The superiority of Surat Al-Baqarah, number 2. Narrated Abu Masud. Whoever recites 2 verses, text as in the following hadith. Narrated Abu Masud. The Prophet said, "If somebody recited the last 2 verses of Surat Al-Baqarah at night, that will be sufficient for him. Narrated Abu Hurairah. Allah's Messenger ordered me to guard the zakat revenue of Ramadan. Then somebody came to me and started stealing from the foodstuff. I caught him and said, 'I will take you to Allah's Messenger.'" Then Abu Hurairah described the whole narration and said, "That person said to me, 'Please don't take me to Allah's Messenger, and I will tell you a few words by which Allah will benefit you. When you go to your bed, recite Ayat al-Kursi 255, for then there will be a guard from Allah who will protect you all night, and Satan will not be able to come near you till dawn.' When the Prophet heard the story, he said to me, 'He who came to you at night told you the truth, although he is a liar, and it was Satan." Chapter 11. The superiority of Surat Al-Kahf, number 18. Narrated Al-Bara. A man was reciting Surat Al-Kahf, and his horse was tied with 2 ropes. Beside him a cloud came down and spread over that man, and it kept on coming closer and closer to him till his horse started jumping as if afraid of something. When it was morning, the man came to the Prophet and told him of that experience. The Prophet said that was as-sakina, tranquility, which descended because of the recitation of the Qur'an. Chapter 12. The superiority of Surat Al-Fat, number 48. Narrated Aslam. Allah's Messenger was traveling on one of his journeys, and Umar bin al-Khattab was traveling along with him at night. Umar asked him about something, but Allah's Messenger did not answer him. He asked again, but he did not answer. He asked for the 3rd time, but he did not answer. On that, Umar said to himself, "May your mother lose you. You have asked Allah's Messenger 3 times, but he did not answer at all." Umar said, "So I made my camel go fast till I was ahead of the people, and I was afraid that something might be revealed about me. After a little while, I heard a call maker calling me. I said, I was afraid that some Quranic verse might be revealed about me. So I went to Allah's Apostle and greeted him. He said, 'Tonight there has been revealed to me a surah which is dearer to me than that on which the sun shines, yea, the world. Then he recited, Verily, we have given you, O Muhammad, a manifest victory. Surat al-Fat, number 48:1. Chapter 13. The superiority of Kul Huwa, Allahu Ahad, Surat al-Ikhlas, number 112. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. A man heard another man reciting Surat al-Ikhlas say, He is Allah, the One, 112:1, repeatedly. The next morning he came to Allah's Messenger and informed him about it, as if he thought that it was not enough to recite. On that Allah's Messenger said, By him in whose hand my life is, this surah is equal to 1/3 of the Qur'an. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. My brother Qatala bin Nauman said, A man performed the night prayer late at night in the lifetime of the Prophet, and he said, Say, He is Allah, the One, 112:1, and read nothing besides that. The next morning a man went to the Prophet and told him about that. The Prophet replied the same as in Hadith 532 above. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. The Prophet said to his companions, Is it difficult for any of you to recite 1/3 of the Quran in one night? The suggestion was difficult for them, so they said, Who among us has the power to do so, O Allah's Messenger? Allah Apostle replied, Allah, the One, the self-sufficient Master whom all creatures need. Surat al-Ikhlas, 112:1. To the end, is equal to 1/3 of the Quran. Chapter 14. The superiority of al-Mu'awidat, Surat al-Falaq, and Surat al-Nas, number 113 and 114. Narrated Aisha. Whenever Allah's Messenger became sick, he would recite Mu'awidat, Surat al-Falaq, and Surat al-Nas, and then blow his breath over his body when he became seriously ill. I used to recite these two surahs and rub his hands over his body, hoping for its blessings. Narrated Aisha. Whenever the Prophet went to bed every night, he used to cup his hands together and blow over it after reciting Surat al-Ikhlas, Surat al-Falaq, and Surat al-Nas, and then rub his hands over whatever parts of his body he was able to rub, starting with his head, face, and front of his body. He used to do that 3 times. Chapter 15. The descent of As-Sakina and angels at the time of the recitation of the Quran. Narrated Usaid bin Hudayr, that while he was reciting Surat al-Baqarah, the cow, at night, and his horse was tied beside him, the horse was suddenly startled and troubled. When he stopped reciting, the horse became quiet, and when he started again, the horse was startled again. Then he stopped reciting, and the horse became quiet too. He started reciting again, and the horse was startled and troubled once again. Then he stopped reciting, and his son Yahya was beside the horse. He was afraid that the horse might trample on him. When he took the boy away and looked towards the sky, he could not see it. The next morning he informed the Prophet, who said, Recite, O Ibn Hudayr, recite, O Ibn Hudayr. Ibn Hudayr replied, O Allah's Messenger, my son Yahya was near the horse, and I was afraid that it might trample on him. So I looked towards the sky and went to him. When I looked at the sky, I saw something like a cloud containing what looked like lamps. So I went out in order not to see it. The Prophet said, Do you know what that was? Ibn Hudayr replied, No. The Prophet said, Those were angels who came near to you for your voice. and if you had kept on reciting till dawn, it would have remained there till morning, when people would have seen it, as it would not have disappeared. Chapter 16. Whoever said that the prophet Saul did not leave anything after his death. Narrated Abdul Aziz bin Rufai, Shaddad bin Makil and I entered upon Ibn Abbas. Shaddad bin Makil asked him, "Did the Prophet leave anything besides the Qur'an?" He replied, "He did not leave anything except what is between the two bindings of the Qur'an." Then we visited Muhammad bin al-Hanafiya and asked him the same question. He replied, "The Prophet did not leave except what is between the bindings of the Qur'an." Chapter 17. The superiority of the Qur'an above other kinds of speech. Narrated Abu Musa al-Ashari. The Prophet said, "The example of him, a believer who recites the Qur'an, is like that of a citron which tastes good and smells good, and he, a believer who does not recite the Qur'an, is like a date which is good in taste but has no smell. And the example of a dissolute, wicked person who recites the Qur'an is like the raihana, sweet basil, which smells good but tastes bitter. And the example of a dissolute, wicked person who does not recite the Qur'an is like the colocant, which tastes bitter and has no smell." Colocant. Narrated Ibn Umar. The Prophet said, "Your life in comparison to the lifetime of the past nations is like the period between the time of Asr prayer and sunset. Your example and the example of the Jews and Christians is that of a person who employed laborers and said to them, 'Who will work for me till the middle of the day for 1 kirat, a special weight?' The Jews did, and then said, 'Who will work for me from the middle of the day till the Asr prayer for 1 kirat each?' The Christians worked accordingly. Then you Muslims are working from the Asr prayer till Maghrib prayer for 2 kirats each." They, the Jews and the Christians, said, "We did more labor but took less wages." He, Allah, said, "Have I wronged you in your rights?" They replied, "No." Then he said, "This is my blessing which I give to whom I wish." Chapter 18. To recommend the Book of Allah. Narrated Talha. I asked Abdullah bin Abi Awfa, "Did the Prophet make a will to appoint his successor or bequeath wealth?" He replied, "No." I said, "How is it prescribed then for the people to make wills, and they are ordered to do so, while the Prophet did not make any will?" He said, "He made a will wherein he recommended Allah's book." Chapter 19. Whoever does not recite the Quran in a pleasant tone. Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, "Allah does not listen to a prophet as he listens to a prophet who recites the Quran in a pleasant tone." The companion of the sub-narrator Abu Salama said, "It means reciting it aloud." Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet, I said, "Allah does not listen to a prophet as he listens to a prophet who recites the Quran in a loud and pleasant tone." Sufyan said, "This saying means a prophet who regards the Quran as something that makes him dispense with many worldly pleasures." Chapter 20. Wish to be like of the one who recites the Quran. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar. Allah's Messenger said, "Not to wish to be the like except of 2 men, a man whom Allah has given the knowledge of the book and he recites it during the hours of the night, and a man whom Allah has given wealth and he spends it in charity during the night and the hours of the day." Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger, I said, not to wish to be the like of except two men, a man whom Allah has taught the Qur'an, and he recites it during the hours of the night and during the hours of the day, and his neighbor listens to him and says, I wish I had been given what has been given to so and so that I might do what he does. And a man whom Allah has given wealth, and he spends it on what is just and right. Whereupon another man may say, I wish I had been given what so and so has been given, for then I will do what he does. Chapter 21. The best among you are those who learn the Quran and teach it. Narrated Uthman. The Prophet said, the best among you Muslims are those who learn the Quran and teach it. Narrated Uthman bin Affan. The Prophet said, the most superior among you Muslims are those who learn the Quran and teach it. Narrated Sahl bin Sa'd. A lady came to the Prophet and declared that she had decided to offer herself to Allah and His Apostle. The Prophet said, I am not in need of woman. A man said to the Prophet, please marry her to me. The Prophet said to him, give her a garment. The man said, I cannot afford it. The Prophet said, give her anything, even if it were an iron ring. The man apologized again. The Prophet then asked him, what do you know by heart of the Quran? He replied, I know such and such portion of the Quran by heart. The Prophet said, then I marry her to you for that much of the Quran which you know by heart. Chapter 22. The recitation of the Quran by heart. Narrated Sahl bin Sa'd. A lady came to Allah's Messenger and said, O Allah's Messenger, I have come to you to offer myself to you. He raised his eyes and looked at her, and then lowered his head. When the lady saw that he did not make any decision, she sat down. On that, a man from his companions got up and said, O Allah's Apostle, if you are not in need of this woman, then marry her to me. Allah's Messenger said, do you have anything to offer her? He replied, no, by Allah, O Allah's Messenger. The Prophet said to him, go to your family and see if you can find something. The man went and returned, saying, no, by Allah, O Allah's Messenger, I have not found anything. The Prophet said, try to find something, even if it is an iron ring. He went again and returned, saying, no, by Allah, O Allah's Messenger, not even an iron ring, but I have this waist sheet of mine. The man had no upper garment, so he intended to give her half his waist sheet. So Allah's Messenger said, what would she do with your waist sheet? If you wear it, she will have nothing of it over her body, and if she wears it, you will have nothing over your body. So that man sat for a long period, and then got up, and Allah's Messenger saw him going away, so he ordered somebody to call him. When he came, the Prophet asked him, how much of the Quran do you know? He replied, I know such surat and such surat and such surat, and went on counting it. The Prophet asked him, can you recite it by heart? He replied, yes. The Prophet said, go, I have married this lady to you for the amount of the Quran you know by heart. Chapter 23. The learning of the Quran by heart and the reciting of it repeatedly. Narrated Ibn Umar. Allah's Messenger said, the example of the person who knows the Quran by heart is like the owner of tied camels. If he keeps them tied, he will control them, but if he releases them, they will run away. Narrated Abdullah. The Prophet said, it is a bad thing that some of you say, I have forgotten such and such verse of the Quran, for indeed, he has been caused by Allah to forget it, so you must keep on reciting the Quran, because it escapes from the hearts of men faster than camel do. Narrated Abdullah. I heard a prophet saying, as above, number 550. Narrated Abu Musa. The prophet said, keep on reciting the Qur'an, for by him in whose hand my life is. Qur'an runs away, is forgotten faster than camels that are released from their tying ropes. Chapter 24. The recitation of the Qur'an on an animal. Narrated Abdullah bin Muqafal. I saw Allah's Messenger reciting Surat Al-Fat on his she-camel on the day of the conquest of Mecca. Chapter 25. Teaching the Qur'an to the children. Narrated Sa'id bin Jubair. Those surahs which you people call the Mufassal are the Muqam, and Ibn Abbas said, Allah's apostle died when I was a boy of 10 years, and I had learnt the Muqam of the Quran. Narrated Sa'id bin Jubair. Ibn Abbas said, I have learnt all the Muqam surahs during the lifetime of Allah's Messenger. I said to him, what is meant by the Muqam? He replied, the Mufassal. Chapter 26. Forgetting the Quran, and can one say, I forgot such and such a verse? Narrated Aisha. The Prophet heard a man reciting the Quran in the mosque and said, may Allah bestow His mercy on him, as he has reminded me of such and such verses of such a surah. Narrated Hisham. The same hadith as 556, adding, which I missed modifying the verses. Narrated Aisha. Allah's Messenger heard a man reciting the Quran at night and said, may Allah bestow His mercy on him, as he has reminded me of such and such verses of such and such surahs which I was caused to forget. Narrated Abdullah. The Prophet said, why does any one of the people say, I have forgotten such and such verses of the Quran? He in fact is caused by Allah to forget. Chapter 27. Whoever thinks that there is no harm in saying Surat Al-Baqarah or Surat so-and-so. Narrated Abu Masud al-Ansari. The Prophet said, if one recites the last 2 verses of Surat Al-Baqarah at night, it is sufficient for him for that night. Narrated Umar bin Khattab. I heard Hisham bin Hakim bin Hisham reciting Surat Al-Furqan during the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, and I listened to his recitation and noticed that he recited it in several ways which Allah's Messenger had not taught me, so I was on the point of attacking him in the prayer, but I waited till he finished his prayer, and then I seized him by the collar and said, who taught you this surah, which I have heard you reciting? He replied, Allah's Messenger taught it to me. I said, you are telling a lie. By Allah, Allah's Messenger taught me in a different way this very surah which I have heard you reciting. So I took him, leading him to Allah's Messenger, and said, O Allah's Messenger, I heard this person reciting Surat Al-Furqan in a way that you did not teach me, and you have taught me Surat Al-Furqan. The Prophet said, O Hisham, recite. So he recited in the same way as I heard him recite it before. On that, Allah's Messenger said, it was revealed to be recited in this way. Then Allah's Messenger said, recite, O Umar. So I recited it as he had taught me. Allah's Messenger then said, it was revealed to be recited in this way. Allah's Apostle added, the Quran has been revealed to be recited in several different ways, so recite of it that which is easier for you. Narrated Aisha. The Prophet heard a reciting the Quran in the mosque at night. The Prophet said, may Allah bestow His mercy on him, as he has reminded me of such and such verses of such and such surahs, which I missed. Chapter 28. The recitation of the Qur'an in Tartil. Narrated Abu Wa'il. We went to Abdullah in the morning, and a man said, "Yesterday I recited all the Mufassal surahs." On that Abdullah said, "That is very quick, and we have the Prophet's recitation, and I remember very well the recitation of those surahs which the Prophet used to recite, and they were 18 surahs from the Mufassal, and 2 surahs from the surahs that start with Hamim." Narrated Ibn Abbas. Regarding his Allah's statement, "Move not your tongue concerning the Qur'an to make haste therewith," 75:16. And whenever Gabriel descended to Allah's messenger with the divine inspiration, Allah's messenger used to move his tongue and lips, and that used to be hard for him, and one could easily recognize that he was being inspired divinely. So Allah revealed the verse which occurs in the surah starting with, "I do swear by the day of resurrection," 75:1. Yet move not your tongue concerning the Qur'an to make haste then with it. It is for us to collect it in your mind, O Muhammad, and give you the ability to recite it by heart. 75:16-17, which means it is for us to collect it in your mind and give you the ability to recite it by heart. And when we have recited it to you, O Muhammad, through Gabriel, then follow you its recital. 75:18 means, when we reveal it, the Quran, to you, listen to it, for then it is for us to explain it and make it clear to you. 75:19. Yeah, it is up to us to explain it through your tongue. So when Gabriel came to him, Allah's messenger would listen to him attentively, and as soon as Gabriel left, he would recite the revelations as Allah had promised him. Chapter 29. Prolonging certain sounds while reciting the Quran. Narrated Qatada. I asked Anas bin Malik about the recitation of the Prophet. He said, he used to prolong certain sounds very much. Narrated Qatada. Anas was asked, how was the recitation of the Quran of the Prophet? He replied, it was characterized by the prolongation of certain sounds. He then recited, in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, prolonging the pronunciation of in the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Chapter 30. At-Tarji. Narrated Abdullah bin Mughaffal. I saw the Prophet reciting Quran while he was riding on a she-camel or camel which was moving, carrying him. He was reciting Surat Fat or part of Surat Fat very softly and in an attractive vibrating tone. Chapter 31. To recite the Quran in a charming voice. Narrated Abu Musa. That the Prophet said to him, O Abu Musa, you have been given one of the Masamir, sweet melodious voices of the family of David. Chapter 32. Whoever likes to hear the Quran from another person. Narrated Abdullah. That the Prophet said to him, recite the Quran to me. Abdullah said, shall I recite the Quran to you while it has been revealed to you? He said, I like to hear it from others. Chapter 33. The saying of the listener to the reciter, enough. Narrated Abdullah bin Masud. The Prophet said to me, recite the Quran to me. I said, O Allah's Messenger, shall I recite the Quran to you while it has been revealed to you? He said, yes. So I recited Surat An-Nisa, the woman. But when I recited the verse, How will it be then when we bring from each nation a witness, and we bring you, O Muhammad, as a witness against these people? 4:41. He said, Enough for the present. I looked at him, and behold, his eyes were overflowing with tears. Chapter 34. What is the proper period for reciting the whole Quran? Narrated Sufyan. Ibn Shubruma said, I wanted to see how much of the Quran can be enough to recite in prayer, and I could not find a surah containing less than 3 verses. Therefore I said to myself, one ought not to recite less than 3 Quranic verses in prayer. Narrated Abu Masud. The Prophet said, if somebody recites the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah at night, it will be sufficient for him. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr bin Alas. My father got me married to a lady of a noble family, and often used to ask my wife about me, and she used to reply, what a wonderful man he is. He never comes to my bed, nor has he approached me since he married me. When this state continued for a long period, my father told the story to the Prophet, who said to my father, let me meet him. Then I met him, and he asked me, how do you fast? I replied, I fast daily. He asked, how long does it take you to finish the recitation of the whole Quran? I replied, I finish it every night. On that he said, fast for 3 days every month, and recite the Quran and finish it in 1 month. I said, but I have power to do more than that. He said, then fast for 3 days per week. I said, I have the power to do more than that. He said, therefore fast the most superior type of fasting, that is, the fasting of Prophet David, who used to fast every alternate day, and finish the recitation of the whole Quran in 7 days. I wish I had accepted the permission of Allah's Messenger, as I have become a weak old man. It is said that Abdullah used to recite 1/7 of the Quran during the daytime to some of his family members, for he used to check his memorization of what he would recite at night during the daytime, so that it would be easier for him to read at night. And whenever he wanted to gain some strength, he used to give up fasting for some days and count those days to fast for a similar period, for he disliked to leave those things which he used to do during the lifetime of the Prophet. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr. The Prophet asked me, how long does it take you to finish the recitation of the whole Quran? Narrated Abdullah bin Amr. Allah's Messenger said to me, recite the whole Quran in 1 month's time. I said, but I have power to do more than that. Allah's Messenger said, then finish the recitation of the Quran in 7 days, and do not finish it in less than this period. Chapter 35. To weep while reciting the Quran. Narrated Abdullah bin Masud. Allah's Messenger said to me, recite the Quran to me. I said, shall I recite it to you while it has been revealed to you? He said, I like to hear it from another person. So I recited Surat Al-Nisa, the woman, till I reached the verse, how will it be then when we bring from each nation a witness, and we bring you, O Muhammad, as a witness against these people? 4:41. Then he said to me, stop. Thereupon I saw his eyes overflowing with tears. Narrated Abdullah bin Masud. The Prophet said to me, recite Quran to me. I said to him, shall I recite it to you while it has been revealed to you? He said, I like to hear it from another person. Chapter 36. The sin of the person who recites the Quran to show off or to gain some worldly benefit, or to feel proud, etc. Narrated Ali. I heard a prophet saying, in the last days of the world, there will appear young people with foolish thoughts and ideas. They will give good talks, but they will go out of Islam as an arrow goes out of its game. Their fate will not exceed their throats. So wherever you find them, kill them, for there will be a reward for their killers on the day of resurrection. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. I heard Allah's Messenger saying, there will appear some people among you whose prayer will make you look down upon yours, and whose fasting will make you look down upon yours. But they will recite the Qur'an, which will not exceed their throats. They will not act on it, and they will go out of Islam as an arrow goes out through the game. Whereupon the archer will examine the arrowhead, but see nothing, and look at the unfeathered arrow, but see nothing, and look at the arrow feathers, but see nothing, and finally he suspects to find something in the lower part of the arrow. Narrated Abu Musa. The Prophet said, the example of a believer who recites the Quran and acts on it, like a citron which tastes nice and smells nice, and the example of a believer who does not recite the Quran but acts on it, is like a date which tastes good but has no smell. And the example of a hypocrite who recites the Quran is like a raihana, sweet basil, which smells good but tastes bad, which tastes bitter. And the example of a hypocrite who does not recite the Quran is like a colocant which tastes bitter and has a bad smell. Chapter 37. Recite the Quran together as long as you agree about its interpretation. Narrated Abdullah. The Prophet said, recite and study the Quran as long as you agree about its interpretation, but if you have any difference of opinion as regards to its interpretation and meaning, then you should stop reciting it for the time being. Narrated Jundub. The Prophet said, recite and study the Quran as long as you agree about its interpretation, but when you have any difference of opinion as regards its interpretation and meaning, then you should stop reciting it for the time being. Narrated Abdullah. That he heard a man reciting a Quranic verse which he had heard the Prophet reciting in a different way. So he took that man to the Prophet and told him the story. The Prophet said, both of you are reciting in a correct way, so carry on reciting. The Prophet further added, the nations which were before you were destroyed by Allah because they differed.